Hi, I'm Matie Argiropoulos. I am a producer at Penguin Random House Audio, and this is Meet the Producer. I've been working with Penguin Random House Audio for 2.5 years, and I've been working in audiobooks for around 14 years. I got into audiobook production thanks to the 2008 recession, where I had just graduated with a degree in literature and was desperate for any type of work. And I had started working at a film and dance studio in Williamsburg for a while, and that led to a job in Manhattan for an audio studio. And that audio studio primarily worked in audiobooks. That's how they made their bread and butter. There was some music elements, but it was mostly, working for PRH as a freelancer or Simon and Schuster or Macmillan, and getting as much experience as possible from every point of production as I could. So it was pretty much by accident and through needing to work in general that I got into audiobook production. But it's been 14 years of steady work, and then in 2017, I was hired by a publisher, which was one of the big fives, and I was hired as a full-time producer. So at that point, I had been responsible for producing over 100 titles a year, and I've been doing it ever since. And it's been 7 years of incredible production work, from directing, QCing, producing, from winning awards, missing out on awards. Working on productions that should have won awards, and those are your favorite ones that you work so hard on, and they seem to sort of make everybody go quiet. But those are the ones that you love the most, that fly just under the radar. But I've been doing this for such a long time, and I can only see more innovation and more production work that could be utilized, and more audiences that we can reach in the future. So I'm just getting started with my career in audiobooks. Collaborating with an author to bring their stories to life is complicated and so simple at the same time. You start with the book. You start before you even talk to the author. You read the book. You try to do a little bit of research about the author, sure. But honestly, it really boils down to your relationship with the book. And you start with yourself, because you eventually will be swayed by other opinions, and you'll be sort of convinced to go in certain directions, or compromise on a casting. But you really want to hear your own opinion first. And I would say that my first instinct and my first real relationship with the book is with the words themselves. And that's where I would suggest most people start when collaborating with the author. And then it's just a matter of hearing your own instincts and experience, trying new things, being open to the thoughts of the author, and perhaps the legacy of the author, looking back to see, have we done your productions before? Should we go in a new direction? What does this call for? So it does seem simple, where you're just like, I have an idea, but it's sort of a bit more complicated when you have to reach out, and you're no longer a team of just one. You're now a team of 50, where everybody has an opinion, and everybody also knows the book and what they think the voice should be. So without taking it book by book, I think that would be my general approach to bringing those stories to life. Working on Deafo was a really unique experience, because the book covered a topic that was really different and a subject that I hadn't really worked on before. So for me, I've worked in every single kind of genre, whether it's just romance or nonfiction or, war books, all of it. But Deafo was in the genre of memoir, which I absolutely specialize in and I adore. But it was part of a graphic novel genre. And then it was, kids lit or YA lit, because it touched on so many different genres. And then because it was so specific to the deaf community and to the partially hearing community, I would say that it was such a different kind of book from the get-go, that the approach was a lot more exciting, because you sort of had the boxes you could tick in your own mind, but there was so much room for creativity that I had to like clear my schedule because I was just like, I need to focus on this. I can tell as soon as I looked at it that it was going to be special. And I remember writing to my coworkers and to my supervisor that I was just like, it's going to be interesting, but more than that, it's going to be an incredible production. And sometimes I can get a little braggy about things ahead of time, but I'm really glad that the Odyssey committee decided to agree with me, and El Deafo was awarded the Odyssey Award this year, and they could recognize the vision that a group of us had, and starting with CeCe, the author, that this was a book that told the same kind of story, but it reached a whole new audience that really hadn't been heard from before. There are a couple of audiobooks that I would really recommend to the listeners that I've been working on recently, and one is The Friday Afternoon Club by Griffin Dunn. It's a author-read memoir about his whole life, and it's sort of like if your family memoir was also a pop culture celebrity memoir, and also a true crime slash comedy book, because he tells his story with such a humble humor that you just are sort of pulled in by his dry wit, but at the same time you're hearing about these, really hard and excruciating things that happened to him in his life, and he has to move on with the realization that these things happened in his life. And because he's so resilient, you sort of don't take these hard things away with you, and you sort of keep rooting for him. And another sort of behind the scenes thing was that he brought his dog Mary to the studio every day, well, almost every day, for emotional support. So when the scenes got really hard, just imagine that he took breaks, I was there for him, and we always had Mary to look to for more emotional support. And the second book that I'm working on soon that I've read is Be Ready When the Luck Happens by Ina Garten. And we start production on that next month. But wow, this book is incredible. It's so relatable. And you don't really think that when you sort of consider like what an icon Ina is. And she's been with us throughout the years for so long in pop culture. But you open it up and you're like, I know these feelings. I know this childhood. Not that you exactly identify with her childhood, but the story is relatable, but at the same time it's really unique to her, and it is incredible to know her better and to sort of like see a little bit beyond this sort of this like presentation that she has for the world, and to get to know what a brilliant person she is, aside from what we might know at face value. I'm constantly listening to something. So right now, the audiobook I'm listening to is the Fran Lebowitz Reader, read by Fran Lebowitz in her classic drawl. It's incredible, and it was pretty good as a book. There were some things that like didn't necessarily resonate because it was published in 2012, but I think the book itself maybe had been written a lot earlier than that. But when you hear her perform it, it's like she's right next to you, or sitting next to Marty on the stage somewhere, just giving her lectures. And I love it so much, and I'm really enjoying the production right now. And I listen to a lot of podcasts, and of course music, auditions. I'm constantly listening to something. I really enjoy the podcast called I Saw What You Did, which is like a podcast of two film critics, and they break down a different genre of movie every week. And for music, I'm listening to The Record by Boy Genius. Just really recommend it. It's really fun summer bop. I'm Matie Argiropoulos, and this was Meet the Producer. Thank you for watching.